Caregiving can sometimes feel like an impossible struggle. Caregivers may be torn between taking care of loved ones and trying to maintain balance in life. The good news is that it doesn't have to be that way. The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson is here to focus on the conversation of caring. You're not alone. In fact, you're in exactly the right place to share stories and learn tips and resources to help you and your loved ones. So now, please welcome the host of the Caring Generation, Pamela D. Wilson.
I'm Pamela D. Wilson, caregiving expert, expert witness, speaker, consultant, and guardian of the Caring Generation. Thank you for joining me for this week's show, episode 234 in year 8, Making Decisions for an Elderly Parent with Dementia. Caring for elderly parents with dementia presents unique challenges for family caregivers, especially as memory loss progresses and decision-making processes become more complex. In this podcast, I'll offer background on being the decision maker and why it is so important to take this seriously. I'll share issues that arise in families when the legal decision maker, known as the fiduciary, fails to fulfill their responsibilities, or in some cases, passes the responsibility along to their spouse, thinking that their siblings will just go along with it. I'll share 2 examples from my 25 years of experience as a caregiving expert, care manager, and professional fiduciary about how I managed through these situations and how I help family caregivers do the same, especially when the elderly parent with dementia refuses necessary choices. Making decisions for an elderly parent with dementia isn't a topic to be taken lightly. Whether you are an adult child caregiver, a power of attorney agent, or a court-appointed guardian. This isn't a process that you leave to your husband or wife if you are the legally appointed person because you're just too busy. This is your parent. If you can't fill the role, then resign and pass the decision-making responsibility along to someone who will take it seriously and commit the time. Your elderly parent deserves that consideration. Your siblings deserve that consideration. A husband or a wife who agrees to help out, who is not the legal power of attorney or guardian, as kind and loving as they might be, they don't have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest or follow the substituted judgment of your elderly parent. In most cases, what I see is that they opt for the easiest thing to do, to relieve stress and work for their spouse, who doesn't have the time to do the job that they were appointed to do. I can tell you that huge family disagreements and rifts arise when a son or daughter who has accepted that legal role and they pass decision-making power to their spouse. If this is you and you've done this, what are you thinking? Your parent with dementia appointed you, not your spouse. Why would you place your spouse in this stressful situation? Why would you give your spouse the burden of caring for your parent when your spouse probably has their own parents to deal with? When your spouse could be taking care of your kids? When your spouse also could be working? Stressed out spouses who agree because they feel pressured can cause a lot of problems in families, because many times this spouse helping out is rushed. They refuse to communicate or work with siblings. They refuse to be transparent. And the result is family turmoil that leads to legal battles and complaints about breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, negligence, isolation, and elder abuse. Families end up in court battles because a son or daughter fails to fulfill their fiduciary role, and their siblings are saying, this isn't okay. We're not going to put up with this. A judge can and will remove you from your position if you are not fulfilling your duty to your elderly parent with dementia. If you are that legally responsible party and you're placing responsibility elsewhere, you can be held accountable for decisions that your helpful spouse or somebody else made. So think twice if you are the legally appointed party and you're not in a position to fulfill your legal role for whatever reason. Resign your position and pass it along. Making life-affecting decisions for an elderly parent with dementia takes a lot of thoughtfulness, problem solving, looking at all the options, and in all cases, where necessary, using substituted judgment, which means that the legally responsible person makes the decision the elderly parent with dementia would have made if they were able to make that decision themselves today. This is very important. If you're not yet at the point where your elderly parent can no longer make decisions, have family discussions with everybody present. Make sure that your parents place all of their wishes in writing. Have the document notarized. Have it witnessed. Doing this simple act can avoid family squabbles and battles and going to court about what dad or mom would have wanted. If you're the elderly parent diagnosed with early memory loss, make sure that your legal documents, appointing an agent or a guardian, include a provision stating that this person that you appoint can be removed for breaching or failing to fulfill their duty to you, for neglecting your care or mismanaging your financial affairs. While you think that you can trust your children, unexpected circumstances and timing of your care needs might not be a match for where your child is in their life at the time that you need care. Your child may need to resign, and the next person in line may need to accept that role. This makes it important to have successor agents named in your documents. 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4. Because there can be times when that first person you choose isn't available, or even as much as they would like to. They can't take on the responsibility because of the timing or other things that are going on in their life. Now let's look at why making decisions for elderly parents with dementia can be challenging when children may not anticipate the level of disagreement from a parent. Dealing with elderly parents who have dementia who resist care or choices can be extremely frustrating. During my 25 years working in the caregiving industry, I've encountered refusals many times, and I know how challenging and frustrating and exasperating they can be. So, how can family caregivers or fiduciaries balance being worried about an elderly parent versus allowing that elderly parent with dementia to live their life and have as much daily control as they want? And when is it time to make the decision that your elderly parents cannot make for themselves because their memory loss is advancing? One of the most challenging aspects I faced was when I was a medical power of attorney or a court-appointed guardian for an elderly person with dementia, and as much as I wanted to, I had to make different choices. I had many clients who shouldn't have been living at home alone when I first met them. The challenge was getting them to accept caregivers in their home or moving to a care community if finances didn't allow for 24-hour in-home care. I did have clients who could afford 24-hour in-home care and everything they needed. They wanted to stay in their homes. I managed these situations for years using multiple care agencies and many other services. It is possible. Let's talk about the desire of the caregiver or the legally responsible party to have lengthy conversations, to explain information, to reason and present consequences to an elderly parent with dementia. Sometimes this is possible. Many other times it is not. I will say that these conversations are easier with persons who have dementia, know that they have dementia, and are still able to reason through the fact that they know they need help. They forget to bathe, forget to eat, forget to change their clothes. Many of these individuals do recognize that they're having difficulty managing their lives, and they appreciate help and having conversations. So with these individuals, it is possible to have short conversations, not lengthy conversations, about options and risks and consequences and choices. But past this, there is this stage where care refusals are adamant. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I don't have memory loss. What are you talking about? And sometimes whatever this or that is really needs to happen for the safety and well-being of this person. So in these cases, when I was the power of attorney or the guardian, I would do what was necessary, and then I will deal with the consequences of my client being angry and upset with me. This is the area where family caregivers really struggle, and they experience a lot of emotional distress because they don't want to force mom or dad to do something they don't want to do. Your siblings can be in violent disagreement in these situations that may relate to prescribed medications, going to see a particular doctor, gaining a more definitive diagnosis, hiring in-home caregivers, moving a parent out of their home, or moving a parent from assisted living to memory care to a nursing home. Family meetings and being transparent in these challenging times are necessary so that everyone feels they have a voice to be heard, even if the power of attorney or the guardian has to make a decision that not everybody will like. And let me share an example of why this is necessary in some cases. It relates to fiduciary duty. So if you're the legally responsible person and harm comes to mom or dad because you knew about a situation, you knew it was dangerous or potentially harmful, and you didn't take an action that you knew was necessary because you allowed your siblings to pressure you into waiting, or you felt sorry for mom or dad, or you felt guilty. In this case, if your parents are harmed, you're the only one to blame. So let's look at scenario 1, an example of taking away the car keys or actually the car. You know that mom or dad should clearly not be driving because of the degree of their memory loss. They lose their keys. They get in the car and drive and they get lost. There's dents in the car, damage to the garage door. The mailbox has been driven over for the 4th time. But you're still trying to reason with mom or dad why they shouldn't be driving when they can no longer reason. You probably hear the same things I did. What are you talking about? I started driving when I was 14 and I still drive as good today as I did then. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with my driving. It's all the other people on the road. Well, here's the thing. What if your parent with diagnosed memory loss runs over a child or injures somebody, and they're the cause of the accident? You allowed your parent with memory loss and a known cognitive issue to drive a car. Now, another person or persons are dead or seriously injured. Maybe mom or dad was seriously injured. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. All of your parents' money that was intended for their care can be taken away in a lawsuit that could cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in damages. All because you knew you should have done something and you didn't. Scenario number 2. Mom or dad is still living at home. You've got concerns about their safety, but nothing majorly dangerous has happened yet. The house hasn't burned down. They haven't forgotten to turn off the water faucets. They haven't opened the dishwasher while it was running. Your parents aren't wandering out of the house in the middle of the night and getting lost. They're not calling you at work 10 times a day because they forgot they just called to ask you how to use the TV remote. Now, for some of these things, you can take intermediate steps. Unplug or turn off the stove. Put a microwave on the table and make sure there are reheatable foods in their home and instructions on how to use the microwave. Type out instructions on how to use the TV remote. Better yet, install cameras inside and out so you can see what's happening. Make sure there's smoke detectors. Now, you know that you need to hire caregivers, but mom or dad is saying, no. Set a trial period of a week or 2 weeks. Talk to your parent about giving them the opportunity to succeed on their own. Now, it's important to have the success conversation with them if they can still have this conversation. Mom or dad, I feel that you would be best with a caregiver 8 hours a day. I know that you don't want to do that, so let's see how you do for the next 1 to 2 weeks with these things. And as long as there's no issues with these things, we're good. If you cannot successfully do these for yourself, then we need to look at Plan B, which is hiring in-home caregivers. Can we agree on this? Put the agreement in writing. You sign it. Your parent signs it. You date it. You put the 1 to 2 week timeline in there. You add Plan B of hiring caregivers so that if your parent does not succeed, you can show them the document. Now, they'll probably deny that you had the conversation and say, I didn't sign that, but you'll know you did because you thoughtfully wrote it up and had it signed, and maybe you were even smart enough to have a couple of witnesses there. If you have siblings, you can include them in these conversations to avoid any surprises and to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Care refusals or refusals in general from elderly parents with dementia can be challenging. Knowing when to make decisions for elderly parents with dementia can be even more difficult. It's important to follow what they told you before their memory loss advanced, and to do the best to make these wishes come true, even in the most difficult circumstances. Yet sometimes this is just not possible for many reasons. A lack of finances, advancing health issues. And these are the times when you've got to be thoughtful and really look at making hard decisions that even you don't want to make. Family transparency and discussing care concerns with your siblings can minimize family disagreements for the care of elderly parents with dementia, really for all parents. Even if you have the decision-making power, I recommend that you just don't act with absolute power and disregard everybody else in your family. That doesn't make anybody feel good, and it's not going to support positive relationships with your siblings because you will need the help of your siblings at some point. Don't drive them off. Don't create division. There's no point in that. You may end up in court. Instead, communicate collaborate. That's probably what your elderly parents would have wanted. I don't know any parents who want to see their children battling and disagreeing over things that really could be solved through discussions and sharing information and being transparent. If you or your family are struggling with this, if you need help or support around caring for a parent with dementia and making thoughtful decisions, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. Go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Services tab, and then Elder Care Consultation, where you can complete a form. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker on the caring generation. I thank you so much for joining me for episode 234, Making Decisions for Elderly Parents with Dementia. Please do me a favor. Take a minute right now on your podcast app. Click like, follow the show, and type in a positive comment if you found value from this episode or any of the other 233 episodes. If you want to look at the show transcript and the video that accompanies this podcast episode, go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Media tab, select the Caring Generation, scroll down to episode 234. All the information is there. I look forward to being with you all again soon. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. Have a fabulous day tomorrow. And enjoy each day until we are here together again.
Tune in each week for The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson. Come join the conversation and see how Pamela can provide solutions and peace of mind for everyone. Here on Pamela D. Wilson's The Caring Generation.